I have nothing pre-planned. If it's getting too long, just tell me to shut up. Or if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask anytime. You don't have to wait till the end. Until then, we're just going to stare at this screen until he's ready.
Come on, Bobby.
Don't pull up the dick pics.
Not yet.
Okay. So, as you guys know, I am a big fan of the middle finger. A lot of my fans. So this was actually at Toronto. Where the first time we did it was 3 years ago. It was me and Rob, and we thought, oh, 2 people's enough. We had probably over 3,000 fans come visit us. So I didn't get to leave. We actually had to stop our booth to go piss. And people were upset with us. They're just like, no, just pee right here. It's fine.
Pee on me.
Right. Yes, pee on me. This is not an R. Kelly concert. We will not be peeing on people. All right, next slide. We're going to keep it, maybe. No.
Not?
Almost there. Okay, this was Calgary. If you want to zoom in on that sketch, people who don't or aren't familiar with Cyanide style. So we do this thing where you come up and if you don't have an idea, we have a topic box. I've actually brought that topic box tonight in case you guys want to get a sketch later tonight. You don't have to, but they're free. This one was, I think it was disco dancing and suicide. So this is kind of like the sketch I came up with. Some of them get really vulgar. Usually involves grandmas, Jesus, Hitler, all that good stuff. I like to dress up, even though we don't dress up as much anymore. Since we've become a little bit more successful, people sometimes interpret our dressing up as like, oh, we are filthy rich now. That is not true. If that's true, I wouldn't be in Ohio still. Next slide. I think some of these are conventions. I have some of the production stuff. And I'll go through all this junk, and this will all somewhat make sense. No? Come on. You have one job.
You had one job.
Okay. Anyway, so while he's setting that up, what I do specifically now is I work on the backgrounds for the animated shorts. I used to do, let's see, there I am. I'm not flicking this guy off this time. I work on the backgrounds, merchandise, I write for the show. I just started voice acting for the show and character design. We just switched over to Toon Boom, which I absolutely hate, but I guess it's supposed to be good for cartoons. We're on season 3 right now. If you guys are familiar with CISO's streaming network, it's $4 a month. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but that's how you can see our seasons. So we have 2 seasons out right now, and season 3 we're working on currently, which will air, I think, in January, and it's probably the greatest thing we've ever written, which isn't saying much because we do dick jokes for a living. This was actually at Columbus. So if you guys like to come to Comic Cons and pay outrageous prices for tickets to meet people, I would recommend going to Wizard World, Cleveland, or Columbus. This is my buddy Mike also. He co-owns Any Means Necessary with me. We've been doing it for about 6 years now. And that guy, I don't know who that guy is. He's just some dude. Next frame. This was a girl who was a big fan of my work. She owns a couple of my paintings. She's probably dropped over 10 grand on me, which is insane and very stupid. But as you can see, I'm super excited. I'm like, hell yeah, I own a quarter of your annual income. Next frame. I had contacts, which I don't. So this is one of the posters I've worked on. I felt like with the whole election and everything, whether you're excited or disgruntled about it, I felt the Star Spangled Bastard is one of our characters. We made a little presidential poster and I want you to go fuck yourself. So yeah, there's that. Next frame. Here's another one. This was actually before the whole election stuff happened. This was actually sometime last year. So we had this whole thing with anytime we'd write Trump, we'd have a swastika for the T. And they wanted, luchadors. So we had, I just assumed that Trump doesn't shave down there. He likes to just grow that orange bush out. So I kind of took some liberties on it. And somehow his hair sits on top of his luchador mask. But this was actually at, I think, WonderCon in LA, which because that's our porn star friend back there. It's a very weird business. I'm friends with porn stars and other just random people, and it's very awkward for my wife. So, next frame. Oh, here's one of my favorites. So, someone wanted Trump. If there's any Trump supporters, just fuck off, okay? It's jokes. It's jokes. They wanted, because they always, Trump's like Hitler, so he's making a super Hitler. So I just assumed Super Hitler would use the bodies of dead Jews to become Super Hitler. So that's kind of where we went with this. Obviously, a lot of parents weren't too happy. They might have been Jewish, I don't know. But this is what I do. This is what I get paid to do. That's fucking dumb. Next frame. This was earlier this year. We went to Texas, where our animation studio is. We had a red carpet event. We rented out the Alamo Draft House, and we showed all of season 2. And then kind of an intro to season 3. And this was our first gold YouTube thing for hitting our 1 million subscribers. We're currently up to 6 million for YouTube. I guess they send that to you if you have 1 million subscribers, apparently. And it's fake. So, next frame. See, I've already offended someone. She's out. She's like, fuck it, I'm gone. Keep it going. This was at the Draft House. For if you people don't know like our faces, this is Chris Wilson, who actually started Sign and Happiness about 12 years ago when he was 16 years old. Fuck him for being having a career at 16. This is our buddy Joel Watson. He's actually the voice of a lot of our characters, like the Butt Shark Captain, Star Spangled Bastard, the Arsonist, all these voices. He's amazing. He used to work for a comic called Hijinks and Sue, which if you've never had a chance, I'd definitely check it out. Our Irish buddy, Dave McElpatrick, and Rob, who is looking somewhere completely opposite. And then there's me in my gray suit. Now, apparently someone says that clashes. I didn't think it clashed, but, whatever. Okay, next frame. I think there's some production shots in here. This is 80% of the animation team. So this is what it takes team-wise to do an animated short, an episode, because people are always like, it takes a couple seconds. Fuck you guys while you're off of YouTube. Like, well, we have to pay people to do this stuff. And we have all these awesome animators, voice actors, sound designers. We have our advertising and everything. So it's literally a full company that we've built from the ground up. But we also have probably like 30 voice actors that aren't on there, 3 other sound designers, and then probably 10 other animators that aren't even in that frame. And I'm drunk as fuck right there. Super drunk. And Rob's got creeper eyes. So I'll point that out. Next frame. I think we're getting to the production. Okay, so this is part of season 3 stuff. It's just still shots of a character. So this is what we get in terms of a storyboard, but they're called animatics because it's like an animated storyboard. This is Chelsea, who is an amazing artist, and she goes super detailed in all of her animatics. They're supposed to be just stick figure, move, that's where your path is. She goes full on anime with that shit. It's got all the movement and everything. So then we move it to color to kind of, flesh out the concept more, and then we get to the actual what they're going to look like at the end. They still have the Sign and Happiness style head, and then we just add a couple little features to them. So that is just character design, which takes anywhere from a week to 4 weeks, just on characters. Next frame. This is kind of an intro to our production. So this is all the sequences for a short or for an episode. So each one has probably 100 backgrounds, 200 backgrounds, 50 backgrounds, and it's just me and one other person doing backgrounds. A lot of studios have their slave labor team overseas that does all their animation for them. We do it all. We don't outsource it anywhere besides just Texas and a couple of remote people. But it's just kind of giving me an idea of that it's more than just one person creating all of this. You can do it, but it's way easier, and you can get a lot more out when you have a whole team working. And this alone, this production was probably 8 months, I think. I think that's about right. Next frame. This was one of the shots that I got to work on towards the end of one of the episodes I can't really talk about. So it makes no sense what you're seeing, but that's a whale corpse. But I get to we just switched over to Photoshop because we used to use Flash and it sucked because Flash would crash. Anyone use Flash now? No. How often does it crash on you guys? All the fucking time. Fuck that program.
More like Adobe Crash.
Right, it is. Like we kept trying to say, we made that joke.
Oh.
Did I hear like a buzz?
Yeah.
A buzzer? Did Adobe found out? They're like, fuck this guy.
They're coming.
So we finally switched over to Photoshop, which has been amazing. But at the same time, I get to get super detailed shit, and it slows us down even more. Next one. That's it on that one? Okay, good. So I'll just talk randomly about this stuff. So again, we've been around for 12 years. I travel all over the country. Some of us, Rob goes to India and France and Spain to all these conventions. I won't do it because I'm a little bit more not risk-taking and I don't want to get bombed or anything. And the world's kind of scary right now, so I just kind of stay in our country and just risk getting shot here. But it's a lot of fun. It's probably my favorite part. In terms of what my work schedule is with that stuff is I work usually about 10 to 12 hour days, 5 days a week. And that's kind of an average. Sometimes I'll do 16-hour days if we're getting close to deadlines, which I'm assuming some of you guys are probably have used to that when you're trying to get your deadlines for whatever projects you have, but it doesn't change. Problem is when you're doing this, I don't feel like I'm working. I'm drawing fucking dicks all day. So I can draw dicks for 12 hours. Shit. So it doesn't really bother me as much. But if there's any other job, I would lose my mind. The conventions are kind of the big thing for me. I get to travel. I get to meet people. I get to do stuff like this. This is more what I want to do. I want to actually talk to people who are up and coming. I used to always be against colleges for art. I felt like you either had it or you didn't have it. And then when I came here earlier, was it in May?
It was, I think it was April.
Was it April?
Yeah, it was 6 months ago.
Okay. When I first came here and I walked in here, I saw all these. First, I just walked in. I was like, "Holy shit, guys! You get your own desks and have your own cubicle, but it's all your artwork." I get to see all this artwork, the Bernie Sanders back there. I keep thinking about that goddamn picture,
Right.
and I'm just like, "Wow!" I was like, "Fuck! Why did I not go to art school for this?" I decided to go to nursing school because I was like, "I'm gonna get a real job," and now I'm doing this. So.
You came in during spring show, didn't you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah. So
stressed
everything
out
was set
because they're
up.
trying to get their whatever deadlines were done.
Right.
Yeah.
You came in at the perfect time then.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for people who don't know how I started with them, this is going to sound like a love connections kind of thing, but back in MySpace days, which some of you might be too young for MySpace, but it made a comeback, right? MySpace did. No? I'm 33. I don't know that shit. So I get a message from Chris, and I automatically thought it was going to be make your dick 10 inches bigger. Click this link. Because with MySpace, your accounts will get hacked so easily, and you just say, okay, I'll just put it in spam. But he messaged me saying, I'm a huge fan of your work and your dark artwork, and I flipped out. Now, given he's 6 or 7 years younger than me, so he's got this grown-ass man geeking out on him, which probably had to sound creepy to him. I was like, holy shit, I'm a fucking Sign and Happiness fan. I was shaking and told my wife, I was like, oh my God. And the whole time he's just like, what's up, man? Fuck, why can't I be that cool? But we were friends for about 2 years. He flew me out to Colorado where he lives, and he was like, hey, why don't you work for me? Or work for the company. He's like, you'll be the first artist we bring into Sign and Happiness. It's always been Matt, Rob, Dave, and Chris. And then, our agent and our lawyers, but he never brought another artist in, so I was the first one. I started off just doing freelance shit, dumb posters, and eventually they're just like, hey, full time, here you go. Here's a paycheck. Here's health insurance if you want it. I didn't, because it's super expensive. And it was right when I graduated nursing school and started working as a nurse that I got that job. So I was like, fuck off nursing, here I come. Went right into art. And so I kind of this really roundabout way. I didn't do it like you guys were doing, where you're like, I'm going to go to school for art and actually be an artist. Fuck the way he did it, because this is way more straightforward. So there's my rambling. Before we move on to my other companies, anyone have any questions about Sign and Happiness stuff? Or is everyone going to be shy? Okay. I see these guys smiling back here like they want to say something. You have this guy's got a question. What's up, buddy?
What's the writing process for the average strip? Is it a single person? Oh, this is a good idea.
For the daily comics?
Yeah, or is there a writer's room?
So initially, like when I came in, they all wrote their own comics. So Chris always did his. Rob has a little notebook, or no, he has the phone. Chris has the notebook. But they'd write down ideas and they'd just do their own jokes. So they obviously have like their own separate fan bases. And about 4 or 5 years ago, they would start suggesting ideas to each other. Like one of Rob's famous ones was the genie, asking for more genies for more wishes. And that was actually one of Chris's ideas that he said, hey, Rob, you can have it. But everyone sees it and go, oh, that's Rob's thing. So they do help each other now a lot. And Rob's, you guys remember see the orgy in a jar one? Anyone? Anyways, he had an orgy in a jar. When he drops the jar, just all these people start coming out and just having an orgy. And we had that conversation. Me and him were talking about it at Toronto. So he was like, are you okay with me using this as a joke? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. So now it's more of a collaborative writing process, kind of like with the episodes. They have a writer's room, and we submit scripts, and then if they like the idea, they'll take it to the writer's room. They'll kind of adjust it and everything. Yep. Anyone else? No. Oh, yes.
Is it hard to like transition to like the side-eye happiness style based on like what you're already used to be?
It was hard to switch to the Flash program because I've never done backgrounds before in my life. I lied to him. I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. I know how to use Flash. And I literally learned Flash as I was doing the backgrounds. And it was hard at first, but I have a real good knack at like emulating styles. With Joel, who does Hijinks and Sue, he wanted a guest comic. And instead of me doing like my own style for his comic, I just emulated his style. And people were confused. I'm like, why did Joel do this comic? I'm like, oh no, it's Shawn did that. So it wasn't too hard. The character design was a little because they're very picky about how their stick figures look, and there's like Chris has a unique style to his one. So if I do like the F-bomb poster, he has a very jagged, sketchy looking head, and if I don't have that exact, just a little, he notices. He goes, that's not right, and he becomes the most frustrating when I had to like emulate his stuff. But it wasn't too hard of a transition because I saw this opportunity that this could be life-changing for me, so I put everything into it. I refused to let myself fail at it, so I probably sucked at it. I look back at like season 1, it's terrible. I don't know why they didn't fire me then, but I got better at it. At least I keep telling myself that. Any more questions for Simon and Happiness stuff? No? Okay, fuck up. What do you got? I was about to say fuck off to everyone.
So for your animators, is everybody pretty much in one studio setting, or do you have other animators that are not local?
Now we're talking about for the animatic or the actual animation?
The animation.
Animation. So the animation, we stopped doing a lot of remote. I believe we actually have 2 remote positions available, but our Dallas studio, we have all of our animators there. We just hired on, I think, another 6. So I think we're up to like 20 or 30 animators right now, and we still don't have enough animators. But I know we did start looking. They cut off the remote thing because I'm remote, Chris is remote, and then we had 2 other people who were remote, and they might have to keep doing it because it's easier just to go to you and be like, hey, make this change, as opposed to get on Skype, message them, see if they're home. But I know that I think they have 2 positions open still for remote, just to kind of help the workload for them. Oh, you have a question now. What's up, bud?
Yeah, what's the funniest thing you created with Simon and Happiness team?
Funniest thing. Are we talking like at conventions or like cartoon wise, or just any cartoon wise? Which one do we have in season 3? We have it's episode 2 or 3. We brought Lunk back, but it's a little bit more video game inspired. That's probably my favorite one right now. It's fucking hilarious to me, and still doing this for 8 years and finding that I can laugh at our stuff after seeing the same animatic 300 times is awesome. So yeah, that's probably my favorite one right now. Okay, we're gonna move on to. We'll go to my clothing stuff. It's AMN clothing. Maybe. Is it on there? Come on, dude. What are you doing? Is it NCI? Are you still Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. So I also own a clothing line. Some people may be familiar with this design or not. The original is actually a Pawns and something comic. It's like I Can Always Make You Smile, and I decided to make a creepier version. It's been one of my most popular designs. I've done a couple clothing lines in the past, and they all failed. This is the first one that's actually been successful. So on top of the 15, 16 hour days I'm working, I still do about 4 or 5 hours intertwined doing my clothing line. I have a buddy, Mike, who actually is the co-owner who deals with all my shipping and the customer service, because if someone messages me and says, I hate this or whatever, I'm just like, fuck you, eat shit, don't ever come back, which isn't good business. So I have him do it. You can just go through those. Some of the others, obviously this one here. Next one. Some other ones. So yeah, this is just product design. So in turn, on top of like the clothing and stuff like that, I try to use a little bit of graphic design. I'm terrible at placement and trying to like show, like entice people to buy stuff. I'm still learning that process. This is one of my Cheshire Cat pieces I did that's out in Houston right now for an art show. So I'm trying to get more art show and be considered artsy. And that's all done some ink selling. That's our our website. But we're based out of Ohio. We're trying to kind of build up, compete with Rubber City Clothing and Cleve Clothing, but we don't have like a super like Ohio supportive. We just are from Ohio. Anyone looking like to start a business of their own, like is it anyone's pursuit? Okay. So what I didn't know is you need an LLC, you need a tax ID number, and you're going to pay a lot of taxes. I've come to learn that as an individual artist, if you're making good money, you're going to be grabbing your ankles almost every year. Bent over and just getting plowed by Uncle Sam, because apparently he doesn't like artists. The first year that I was with Sign On Happiness on contract, and we had a good year with Any Means Necessary, I kept putting away a percentage of money, which is, taxes are very important. And I'm going to hit this here soon, because I'm going to really bore you guys with some tax stuff. At tax season, my CPA says, hey, how much do you think you owe? I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe $5,000. He goes, add a $10,000 to that. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, add a $10,000 plus $3,000 more. I'm like, $18,000? He goes, yes, you owe $18,000 to the IRS. So I tried to find a window, and I tried to jump right the fuck out. I wasn't told that everything I sell can be taxed. And as long as if you buy something off me with a credit card or through PayPal, they can track it. So I had a lot of funds from the year, and I was through contract with Sign On Happiness, so I wasn't getting city taxes taken out, state taxes, Social Security, anything like that. So I was responsible to put, 0.32 or 32% away each time for every sale I made. But no one tells you that. You find out usually a year after when you get your IRS bill, and they say, hey, you owe this much money. So it's very disheartening. And maybe you just want to stop doing artwork. But if you guys do pursue like contract work, or you start your own business, or you do a clothing line or anything like that, just be aware that everything you do can be taxed. Because the last thing I want to see anyone having is you guys have a great year, make $100,000, spend it all, and then owe $50,000 the next year because you didn't write off anything. And it's ruined a lot of companies. It's ruined a lot of artists. I know a couple artists who had a really good year and they just stopped making art and just got a real a 9-to-5 job because it's not as stressful. I don't have to worry about taxes. I don't have to worry about anything else because it really hurt him. I had a friend who bought a brand new house and a car because he had a real good year and didn't write anything off. And the next year he had to sell his house and had to get rid of his car because he blew all the money and he had nothing to show for it. But he had no receipts to say, oh yeah, I spent this on this supplies this way. Because he was new too, kind of like me. I wasn't that stupid, but he was. So that's just a big thing I think you guys should know when you guys get out there is to make sure if you aren't good at taxes, get a CPA. My tax guy, it's $250 a year for him to do my taxes, but he does everything. I don't gotta do shit. I give him all my stuff and I go, here, make this go away. And he tells me in a couple months how much I owe, and then I cry or have a drink or get high, whatever, and I try to forget it and give them the money. So I think, I don't know how many artists you guys have come talk to you, but I don't think they ever really talk about the tax part and just the stress of being an artist. I'm constantly stressed. I'm strung out all the time because I don't sleep much. I get about 4 or 5 hours a night, roughly, just because I have all these ideas in my head that I want to get out on T-shirts, I'm going to get out on pictures, I'm going to get out on just anything. And on top of the cyanide happiness, it's a lot of work. And if you have, a low threshold for stress, you're going to be very miserable for a little bit. But if you like stress and you like that kind of just workaholic thing, go for it. Keep going. I think it's just a person. Actually, let's go to the Inktober stuff. Anyone familiar with my Inktober crap? Oh, are you guys coming to hate on me? Like, does anyone have any hate towards me? No, not here. Okay. I got a couple Twitter posts that just say "fuck Shawn Coss," and it's the first time I've ever had that. So I feel like I'm an artist now. I feel like I'm successful. So.
Still misspelling your name.
Huh?
BuzzFeed. Still
They do,
misspelling
yes.
your name.
Fucking Coss not cross hashtag. What's up?
Can those get bigger?
Yeah, can they, dude? What's going on? So for everyone familiar with Inktober, like what that is, I'd hope so. If you aren't, I'd recommend getting into it. It's good exercise for an artist. But every year, for those who don't know, for the month of October, you do an ink piece once a day. And last year I did Nightmare Before Christmas. I did a bunch of characters. I made it like 10 days, and then I gave up. It's a lot of work. And this year I was trying to figure out what to do, and one of my fans on my page said, you should do mental health through the eyes of a person having a psychotic break, which makes no sense. But I kept looking at the mental illness part, and I kind of ignored it. I wanted to do something kind of pop culture-y, something a little bit outside my style. And then a couple days later, I look back at it, and there's like 100 likes and a bunch of comments on this one person's post going, yes, do this, fucking A, do this. And I decided to do a couple. My first one was borderline personality disorder, and then I did like 3 or 4 more. Just doing them. Wasn't really sure what was going to happen, and then I fell asleep one day at some point of daytime or nighttime. Woke up the next day, and I had like 5,000 new followers on Facebook. I'm like, fuck, okay, right on. And then one of my posts average anywhere from 500 to about 800 likes on average, just because Facebook has this whole algorithm of preventing people who like your stuff from seeing your stuff. And as I kept going with the designs, I started seeing all these people like really interacting with it. I probably had, I think a total of now I'm up to 2,500 emails I've received just from October 1st, just over this series. And a lot of it's just people telling me the worst stuff on earth. Rape cases, sexual abuse, psychotic breaks, just the darkest shit you could possibly experience, and they're telling a complete stranger, me. And it's real heavy. It's real fucking heavy, and it's a lot to put on someone. And I'm literally having to, I tried to answer all of them, tried to keep up with them, and I couldn't do it. I had a friend help me out, which was a mistake because it just kept saying thank you, and we had kind of like a canned answer, and it didn't make any sense to some of these people's responses, so they called me out on it too. So I went back and emailed every one of these people, just telling them, thank you, I don't know what else to say. When someone tells me, hey, I was raped as a child, and my mom tried to kill me, what do you tell them? Like, what the hell do you say? I just go, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, I'm glad. And they'll usually say, like, this helped me. This helped me at some point, or on some level, or at least helped me tell my parents, this is how I feel. They see a picture of it, and it's awesome. It kind of put me in a new journey with my artwork. I used to just draw creepy shit for the fuck of it, and I swear a lot, in case anyone didn't know. But with my medical background, I was like, well, maybe I'll start heading this direction. You guys familiar with Derek Hess at all? Some people?
Yeah.
He used to do a lot of band posters back in like the old Odeon days, and he does a lot of stuff focused on mental health, and he does really good work. He has a great style, and he was a huge influence of mine growing up. He actually has a gallery somewhere in downtown Cleveland. I think it's just called the Hess Gallery, but it kind of like gave me this new like, well, maybe this is my path, and it's still a little heavy. Like people still send me some really creepy stuff, but I didn't realize what was going to happen with this until, BuzzFeed contacted me. The Mighty, which I've never even heard of, but they have like 10 million followers. Board Panda actually messaged me and they go, hey, you should make a post about this thing. And anyone familiar with Board Panda? Some, no? Okay, good. So I'm not the only person who doesn't know what the fuck that place is. But it's a cute little board panda. You should check it out. And I went from 44,000 followers on my Facebook page. Within 2 weeks, I was up to 60,000. And then today, so from October 5th to now, I'm up to 97,000 followers from 44. That's fucking crazy. That's insane to me because I'm used to people knowing me for Cyanide Happiness. Like, oh, that's Shawn Coss of Cyanide Happiness. Not Shawn Coss, he does really creepy, fucked up shit. So I don't know which one I'm going to be known for. But with all of the positive stuff I've gotten a shit ton of hate mail. A lot of hate mail. A lot of people are just saying, fucking die, I hate you, fuck Shawn Coss and all of his Inktober on Twitter. And I did one piece, I don't know if I have it on here, but I did autistic spectrum disorder. And it was real controversial. But it's a neurological disorder, as a lot of people will know, and there's a variety on the spectrum. A lot of people can fall on different types, high functioning, low functioning. And I included it on it because it's still, I don't know if it's in the DSM-6, but it was in the DSM-5. And they usually, are you like waving me down?
Do you want me to hit another slide?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, have at it. People are probably tired of looking at God and man. There you go. That's a creepy one too. I'll tell you about that one too. But I had a lot of autistic people reach out to me. And a lot of them were just very, very just like, you're sensationalizing this, you're romanticizing mental illness. And at first I was very defensive with them and just attacking them back. And it didn't solve anything. And I was trying to explain to them that, because a lot of people see my artwork and they're just like, oh, you just did this to make us all look like monsters. It's like, no, this is just the style I work in. It's just, I just draw a creepy style. But I'm not trying to say, like, say you have a mental health disorder. I'm not saying you're the monster, but you having something that is preventing you from being completely happy in life. And that was kind of what my focus was. And as Chris would tell me, you've made it because you've pissed off a lot of people and you've made a lot of people happy. So he's like, you're not going to be able to make them all happy. And that's something I wasn't used to. I was always used to people looking at my work and loving it, or at least coming to my page. I'm like, I was not used to someone coming to my page, signing up and saying, fuck you, you suck, I hate you. I didn't know what to do, because I always want people just to like my work. And I guess as an artist, you're not going to have everyone like your work. It's an impossible feat. So it's still going strong. I released a bunch of prints and actually a small mini book that I think I'm almost sold out of now. We did 1,000 copies. And we're actually donating like a good amount of our earnings to some mental health facilities. And we're going to start a grant for art therapists because they have a hard time with getting funded because health insurance don't really see art therapy as an actual therapy, so they have to word their stuff very carefully. So we're trying to do something good with it because a lot of people are like, you're just doing this just to make money. And I didn't expect any of this to happen. I was just drawing a bunch of creepy versions of mental illnesses, and it just happened to grab a lot of people's attention. So that's kind of like where I've been sticking with now is this kind of more simplistic ink style. It's become a lot more therapeutic for me as well because I can get an idea out and keep it really dirty and grungy. Because that's how I feel usually when I'm making my artwork. I'm stuck in a little basement studio by myself with dingy lights, and it's not a very glamorous lifestyle. They're like, oh, he's a working artist. That sounds awesome. Nope, I am drinking, drawing by myself on Facebook Live, and drawing creepy things with babies being grabbed. That's what I'm doing. That's not glamorous at all. I can't remember if I have any of my Kickstarter stuff. I do. You can pull that up too. Does anyone have any questions while we're going? Because I'm kind of just telling you just what I do in my life, and feel free to just ask random things or ask why I'm even here, and I'll try to come up with a reason for you. I also did a Kickstarter this year for a children's book. It's not actually a children's book. It's a book about children who die and parents who commit suicide or try to kill their children. 2.5 years ago, I had my first daughter, and no one told me that, hey, you're going to have the worst fear of your life of her dying in the most horrific ways possible. I had dreams about us, me and my wife, driving down, a wooded area. We crash, we both die, and my daughter starves to death in her car seat. That's a thought I had a lot. I had a thought of feeding her a bottle and dropping her on our tile floor. Her brain split open. She dies right there in front of me. That's another one. And there's probably about 30 or 40 other scenarios that go through my head. Like sexual predators is a big one now for me. So I was going crazy. I was literally drinking every night and trying just to numb myself up. So like my wife and my kids would go to sleep and I would just drink by myself, just drink myself stupid just to stop thinking about it. And I decided that's not really healthy. My liver doesn't like it either, so let's do something a little bit more productive. So I started writing stories about it. So I wrote like 12 stories, just kind of in the same vein as Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but there's no humor. It's very dark and depraved. That's the kindergarten book with the cover is actually done by a guy named Chad. I think it's Whirl. I don't know how to actually pronounce his name. It's Whirl or Whirlay, but he is pretty much captured the whole Stephen Gamble style. I wanted that as my cover to kind of pay tribute. I actually tried to reach out to Stephen Gamble. I found his phone number. I was going to call him, and I was like, that's going to be weird. He's probably like in his 80s, and he's going to be like, why the fuck are you calling me? I can't even use my hands. So, but I wanted to call him and ask, like, would you either write a foreword for me, and he doesn't owe me shit. So I just found someone who's really good at his style. So this year alone, I work on a comic, a cartoon series. I run a clothing line full time. I have a Kickstarter, and I did a fucking Inktober illness thing. And on top of that, I still have about 6 months of commissions I'm working on. They're all just like tattoo designs for people. Because I'm crazy. I'm effing crazy. And that's the one time I said effing instead of fucking. So if you're crazy like me, and you like to be a workaholic, and you don't care about not having a social life, this is an awesome career. It's fun. I get to do a lot of things. I get to do this. This is awesome to me. I wish I could do more of these. I wish I had a little bit more planned speaking, but I like to just ramble and just kind of like play off you guys. But you guys are very quiet and respectable. I'm not used to that. Usually I have people going, fuck you, get the fuck off the stage. Or, where's Chris? I usually get that one a lot. Or, are you related to Chris? Or, are you Chris? Like, do I look like Chris? No. I'm trying to think of what else I can tell you. Oh, let me tell you about crushing your dreams. I was going to tell you about that. Let me crush those real quick. Okay. So,
Every day.
this will be the first time I actually tell people this because I keep it quiet. Not about the crushing dreams part. I'm going to do that. But I'm still a nurse. I work in an ER still because I can't afford thank you, health insurance. I have 2 daughters. Like hell if I'm going to risk everything on my art career and something goes wrong with my daughters. So, yes.
What shift do you pull so you can work?
Well, I did 3P to 3A twice a week, and now I'm switching to 9A to 9P so I can spend more time with my kids.
I do 12 the night shift on the weekend.
Oh, do you? Are you in the ER too?
OR.
OR? Okay, nice. So you're on call a lot, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes?
I pick up actually on purpose.
Do you? Ugh,
So
fuck
I
that.
can get the $2 an hour.
But so I like helping. As you know, that person fell outside. My nurse thing goes right into I've actually had to do CPR on a couple people at conventions before. It's just it's a weird you'll literally see it. If someone would clap here, you'd literally just see me switch. I go okay, trying to save their life. But I didn't leave my nursing career because the art career is so crazy. Like I was telling them, we were at dinner earlier. A friend of mine moved out to LA. She worked for Nickelodeon. She bought a house or a studio and everything. And she said, "Oh, my career's here." She was there for 6 months. They got 6 months of work, and you're laid off because they work usually by contracts. So it's usually 3-month contract, 6-month contract, year contract, depending on what company. And she doesn't have any kids. But with me, I can't work for something. Like with Cyanide and Happiness, we're not going to be around forever. We've already been around for 12 years. But I doubt we're going to be like The Simpsons. I doubt we're going to be South Park. In terms of society, we go through these ebbs and flows of what we find humorous. Right now, vulgarity is still pretty funny to people. But I don't know what's going to happen in 6 years. And as a realist, I don't know if my other artwork can sustain a career to where I can afford, to pay our bills and everything like that. So I keep my nursing up to date, just in case the worst would happen. Now, I have friends who completely quit everything and became artists, and they're successful. You guys familiar with Alex Party at all? No? No? Yeah? Okay. So he had a chance to go to school way back when he was younger. And he said, all I want to do is make cool art. So he just said, fuck it, I ain't going to college for business. I'm going to just do art. And he risked it all. You know, he struggled for 3-4 years, just, you know, eating ramen noodles like you guys might do now. And now he's, you know, fucking everywhere. You know, he does movies, he does conventions, he does books, he does all this stuff. And but he doesn't have kids though. I feel like kids is kind of a factor. So if you plan on having kids, it's kind of hard to be like that, you know, I'm just going to do art for a living when you have kids to take care of. It's not about you anymore, it's about your kids. And I just want to make sure that if something would happen to them, that I could take care of them. Because as an artist, we don't make that much money. Now, Chris, Rob, and Dave, yes, they're the creators. They make a little bit more money than we do. But I don't make enough to where I can be like, I don't need insurance, I'll just pay it out of pocket. Because an ER visit can be anywhere from $500 for an in and out to $19,000, depending on what what tests they do to you. So I'm just not ready to do that. I feel like maybe if I did, I could maybe get somewhere because I'd have more time to dedicate to it. But it's just something I'm not willing to risk, at least for my family. My wife doesn't work, she stays at home. And I found that I'm successful in terms of I can pay for bills, pay for our food, and that's success to me. Other people might find success in just getting people to like you, like a couple likes on your Facebook page, which is fine. That's success, depending on what you want it to be. But here's the dream crushing part. Okay, so people always ask me, how'd you do it? I want to become a working artist like you. And I tell them, by fucking luck. It's luck that MySpace, I checked it one day, and Chris emails me. You know, it's luck that by chance that he found me and says, I like your work. That's the only reason why I have that career now. The only reason why I'm here now talking to you guys because he said, I like that stuff. I like your dark artwork. And there's artists that are way better than me. Probably about 90% of you are way better than me as artists. But my fucking shitty ink sketches will grab someone's attention more than that Bernie piece, you know? And that Bernie piece blows me away. Like the Bernie Sanders time piece over there, if you guys know what I'm talking about. I think is that Linville? Is that her name? Emily?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Emily, yeah. I started stalking her because I love her art. I feel so bad because I met her, I don't know if she's here tonight, but I met her last time. And I saw that, I'm like, who did that? And he goes, that's Emma. I'm like, okay. And I started like looking at all of her artwork. So I felt like a creeper, so I apologize. But if there's like an art I find, like whoever, what's the guy's name that I was looking at earlier? The Ren and Stimpy style.
Oh, Daniel, that was you.
Where's Daniel at? Yes, I love your work. Love it. So I'll probably be stalking you next. So we're big into the whole Ren and Stimpy style, and that's the first thing I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a fan. That's awesome. So great work. I love it. But so some of you guys who are probably way better, you guys took all the right art classes, may not get careers, or you may get a career, but it may not be in what you want to do. Cartoons. There's so many animators out there. Like initially, when I wanted to be a game designer, I did intro to programming. I'm thinking, I'm going to design the next awesome game, and I'm sitting there learning what flow charts or whatever the hell they're called, and like if they do this, yes, no, and they're all like, oh yeah, this is like my 5th game I put out. I'm like, fuck. So they've already like put out games before I even got introduced into C++, and it just made me realize that like I should have been doing this artwork a lot longer, or like working on programming a lot earlier in life. But all I want to do is play video games. I wasted my whole like high school and junior high career just playing video games. Right? But I didn't do anything with it. Like I could have been pursuing my artwork and like making connections with people, and all I want to do is play Halo. Just fuck yeah, Halo, man. And I could have been like, I know a couple artists who have better careers than I do at 24 years old, because that's all they did. They just focused on art. And I regret it, but I'm glad I chose the path I did, because now I'm doing this. Now I'm speaking in front of you guys. But just a lot of your career, if you're wanting to pursue cartoons, something, it's going to be luck. It's just going to be finding the right person at the right time, and that's just the reality of it. It's kind of like I relate it to like the NBA, NFL. Like you can play football in high school, maybe college, but there's a small percentage of you who get to the NFL. But the NFL can be what you want it to be. Maybe that the NFL is just, like I said, you have a Facebook page that has 10,000 likes. And that's good. That's your success. That's your success. But if you want like a career where you're drawing creepy mental illnesses, it's going to be a lot by luck. Like that's luck. This was all luck too. That I posted it and BuzzFeed and all these people decided that they wanted to, show it off to people. And that's my first viral thing. I guess that's considered viral now, right? Is that a viral thing? Okay. So I always wondered what made something viral. And I know there's been case studies on it. And I still don't understand what made this viral. No one's been able to explain it to me. They just said, oh, they posted it on BuzzFeed. But why? Like, why is it popular? That's what I don't get. So it's hard to tell an artist, like, do this, this, and this. And I think that's why a lot of artists, they don't want to tell you their path because that path's always different. So the way I got here was my path. So your paths might be completely different. Your paths might be a lot better and a lot quicker, or they might be a lot shittier. But as long as you get where you're going, I guess that's all that's important. So dream crushing, somewhat. I kind of lightened up a little bit on it. I think that's all I got. They don't have any questions. I don't even know what time it is. I go like that. What time is it?
We're in the Matrix.
7:07. That's not even that long. Anyone have questions? Let's talk. Let's chat. I'm gonna start picking on people. You.
Do you end up trying to tone down the cussing around your kids, or just
Lately, yes. So my daughter, my oldest daughter, she knows when I cuss. When I say fuck, she laughs. And I go, you know what? I don't know if she knows cuss words. So I said, cum dumpster. Laughs. I was like, how does she know what cum dumpster is? That's not good. So, yes, I've toned down. But funny is my wife still yells cunt and fuck all the time. And I was like, well, I don't say the C word sometimes. I save it. I like to save that one. That one still has power. But I try to cut down on my swearing around her. That's why I'm swearing so much now. And I had some alcohol before I came in, so a little bit more. I guess a little lit, yeah. All the way in the back.
So, I'm not very familiar with your work, but it does remind me of something. Have you still happen to do animations back on Newgrounds by any chance?
I didn't. Chris and a lot of them did. There are a couple artists on there, like, I've been related to, like, Salad Fingers back then.
Oh my god.
Right? That's old. There's a couple artists back then that I think I share some of the similar style, but I didn't really do too much animation.
Yeah.
The idea of animating seems so tedious that I never pursued it. I'd watch our animators work, and they would spend like a week on like 30 seconds or 15 seconds, and I was like, I can't do that. I'll be drunk all the time and miserable. But yeah, I didn't do any of the Newgrounds. So I have stuff on there now, but it's not animation. It's just random artwork.
I see. Cool.
Yeah.
My brother's really interested in starting his own like clothing brand.
Okay.
Do you have any like advice?
Don't do it.
I knew you were
Let me tell you why. The only reason, again, why our clothing line did well is because we had the backing of Sign and Happiness initially. So whenever I started the clothing line, this is before Facebook fucked everything up. They would post like, our background designer or writer has released this new clothing line. You should check it out. So I had access at that time to 9 million followers, potential followers. So we had a real good kickstart in the beginning. The problem with clothing lines is anyone can do it. I see a lot of clothing lines out there that are just, it's trash. It looks terrible. But anyone can do it. You just draw a picture, give it to a screen printer, they print it, and you have a clothing line. It's just finding the niche for it. So if you have like word shirts are kind of played out, art shirts are played out. I mean, some people will like this, and it's back to being artwork. It's subjective. Some people like this design. Some people are just like, whatever. Is that me? That was. That's money. That's my clothing line right there. I have that on so I know when sales happen. It makes me feel good inside. Pavlov's dog kind of deal. Isn't that terrible? That's an ego thing right there. I just want my ego to be pushed up a little bit. So I hear cha-ching, I'm like, yeah. I just cha-ching, all right, wallet back in the pocket. But it's subjective. It's very hard. But at the same time, there's new things called like, really? I should have muted that. Teespring. So what you can do is you design the T-shirts, and then they ship it for you, but they take a cut. So if you sell a shirt for $30, you get $10, and then that company gets that. So a lot of T-shirt companies are doing it that way. So there's not a lot of loss to it.
I think you use Redbubble right now.
Okay, I would not use that site, just because Redbubble doesn't get a lot of reach as much. Facebook still has a great amount of reach. Instagram's amazing still. It's just you gotta convince people to actually click the damn link on your profile. Once Instagram maybe eventually allows that link to be put in there, it'll help out. But I get most of our stuff through Facebook. For my clothing line, we boost the posts, which I hate having to do, but because Facebook changed our algorithm on how your stuff shows up, so if I have 5,000 fans on our clothing line, I have to pay to get those fans to actually see my stuff, even though you wanted to see my stuff, which is shitty. But we probably get about 90% of our business through Facebook, just because it's still the popular social media site, and it's easy. Twitter's getting there. I know it's starting to pick up steam, but I would recommend using Teespring or something like that to where someone else fulfills the order, because then there's no huge risk to it. Because like we still do it traditionally. My buddy's house is our warehouse, and we have just clothes everywhere because we don't want to have someone else ship it for us. But tell them best of luck, but bad idea. Yep. Yes, sir.
Alright, so I remember I was in high school and I watched the Cyanide Happiness
Okay.
episode. All of the humans were insects, or portrayed as insects.
Yeah.
Did you have anything to do with that?
Yeah, that was the first. That was the first season I worked on. That was I think that was season 1. That was the intro to the whole thing. The whole where it ends up being like the insects or people, and they kind of take over. Yeah, I had a lot to do with that one. Yeah. And you see those backgrounds, you'll see how shitty it is compared to like what comes out now. They're terrible, terrible backgrounds. Anyone else? Questions? Yes.
I'm just curious about like your tattoos. Like, when did you get them? Do they have any meaning? Or
Well, yes, I actually have. So this one, this will be foolish. It was a girl I was dating, and I actually had her initial in there, and then we kind of broke up. Well, we did break up. And, I still kept it, even I don't know how many years into my marriage with my wife. And then one day I got another tattoo, and she's like, "Can you just have that filled in finally?" So I did. This is a Seattle. It's the logo for Seattle because we're all like diehard Seattle fans in terms of the sports team, and also just we love the city. I go there every year for Emerald City. I've been there about 8 years in a row now, or no, 7 years. It'll be 8 next year. So we wanted to kind of show me, my wife, my 2 brother-in-laws, and their girlfriends all have the same logo somewhere on them. And then this is lyrics from, anyone familiar with the band Amplexus at all? No? Anyone? No? Okay. Hawks and Wolves? No? Okay. Anyway. Both really good bands that no longer exist. But my buddy Milan had these lyrics written about his sister who was battling with anorexia. And my wife had eating disorders when she was younger. So the lyrics on here say, "Gods will fall before I let you disappear." And the song's about eating disorders. So I got that for her. I have a side piece here. I'm not going to lift my shirt up. But it's a guy in water. And that was like during my nursing career when I felt like I was drowning and that I was going to become nothing in life and that I was wasting time. And it was like deep depression. This one is my octopus. It has the psychology symbol in there because initially I wanted to go into psych nursing. And then one of my friends got her orbital socket shattered. So I said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to there.
How'd you?
Patient got through the glass and kicked her in the face. So shattered her face. And she was only there for about 2 weeks.
When that happens.
Right, so. But this was based off of my nurse instructor. She had this theory for her master's paper about the octopus effect, where all these symptoms are caused by a root issue. So these symptoms that they're dealing with, if you fix the main issue, it fixes all the minor symptoms. And I like that theory a lot, so that's why I kind of paid homage to her, because she helped me a lot through school and everything. So those are my tattoos.
Okay.
I don't think no, I didn't get the penis one. No, I didn't get that one. Yes.
Yes, the Code Monkey has a question.
That was a good show too. The cartoon.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier. Do you have any recommendations on learning about managing an LLC and, more importantly, managing freelance work?
Like manage, like when you're hiring freelance?
Yeah,
Or-
like getting into it and making sure that you're managing everything appropriately.
No, are you talking about like as a like so if you're a freelancer getting out there to people?
Yes.
Okay. So with the LLC, I learned everything by trial and error. Taxes is a big thing. Being able to write everything off, like our dinner, I write that off. It's a fucking it's a write off. I learned that if you do comics or do art with that, if you buy comic books or go to movies, you can write that off as research. Right. That's awesome, and it's completely legal.
Right.
So fuck you, IRS, if you're seeing it on that live stream.
Got him.
Wait, where are you pointing at?
Well, explain what write it off means.
I was just about to, yeah.
Don't know what that is.
Oh, sorry.
It's like
It
free
means
money.
you get all the money back,
Okay,
right?
so
You just get free
for
money,
taxes, God, I keep forgetting you guys are very, very young. Is anyone close to 30? Okay, right on, guys. Right on. All right. Who's under 25? All right. Sounds good. Okay, so writing it off is just at the end of the year you can claim expenses. So if you buy art supplies, buy an art program, you can give that to TurboTax or your tax agent or your parents if you're still living with them, and be like, hey, this can be written off. You can write off, I forget what the percentage is, but you can write off a good amount of stuff. And you just have to be careful because if you say, like, as an artist, if I write off too many dinners, it's a red flag. And the IRS goes, we need to audit him just in case, just to make sure he's not lying. I wrote off my office, my studios, my basement. I had it refinished. I have probably about $6,000 put into my office, computer and everything. I wrote the whole thing off. So that means I say I spent $6,000 on my company, so that money gets put against my profit, so I don't owe as much taxes. So, like, for an example, with the Inktober stuff, in 2 weeks we made $38,000, which is insane. I don't make that all the time. The company made that, but if we don't spend any money, I'm gonna owe about 11.5, so $11,500 of taxes that I believe the government should not have. But we live in America; they need their taxes. So what we have to do now, from here until December 31st, is spend as much money as we can and write it off to show that we didn't make a profit, or at least a big profit. So what we're doing is we're buying brand new laptops for the company, which we will use for the company. I'm buying a new computer. That's going to be for the company and gaming. No, whatever. But so what else was I buying? I bought plane tickets to Chicago. I'm going to Chicago next week to go see Maynard James Keenan of Tool. He's doing a speaking engagement. I'm flying for 1 day. 1 day. I paid for flight tickets to that, and I'm writing it off because it's business. Because I'm going to go hit an art gallery up. So then I'm doing research, and I should probably mute this while I'm saying this, but they're not going to look at my right. But the IRS isn't going to go all that way to find out. Well, did he actually go to Chicago for business or did he not? But they look at my track record, and it relates to like the Comic-Con convention stuff like that. Then they're like, okay, he does do this stuff.
I'm in a professional practices class, and we actually talked about taxes a couple days ago.
Mhm.
And if you go to a gallery and pick up their card or a statement from them, that's what says that it's research, and they'll completely accept it no matter what.
There we go. See, everyone keep that down.
I just wanted to add, it's usually not a good idea to lie to the IRS.
Right. There's a thing about lying and just wording it correctly, from what my CPA says. That's why I have him deal with this, because otherwise I'm going to lie about everything and be like, like my car. So you have an option of either writing off your gas or writing off your maintenance. But I don't think you can do both, though. So if you have like tires put on, oil changes, all that stuff, you can write that stuff off. And that stuff can get expensive. Tires on like an SUV can be like $300-400. So you can write that off. Which I will be doing all of this shit before the end of the year, because otherwise I made that money, then I made my Kickstarter money, plus the money I've made as nurse and as my Sign in Happiness. So on paper, it looks like I made a shitload of money. In reality, I didn't make that much money because I had to spend a lot of that money to get all this stuff produced. So for the LLC, it's just I have a co-ownership with my buddy Mike. So at the end of the year, AMN, so let's say that we'll just say $10,000 is what we owe in taxes. He's responsible for 5,000 of it. I'm responsible for 5. We get what's called a K1, which is a tax document between partners. And then he's responsible for paying that. I'm responsible for paying mine. He doesn't have to. He can Wesley snipe it if he wants and just roll the dice and see if he goes to prison. It won't affect the company. But it's bad practice if your partner doesn't pay his taxes. In terms of freelance, the best way to do it is, Facebook's awesome. I keep going out to Facebook. Conceptart.org. I think that's still around. Is it kinda? Isn't it more like a pay site now? It used to be free.
I don't know if it's paid.
Okay, but a lot of like film industry people would go out there and they'd post stuff. I actually got my work. I worked on a Stephen King film 2 years ago now. It came out this year called Cell. Had John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. They found me on DeviantArt of all places, and there are amazing artists on there, and there's amazing people thinking that they're porn stars on there or whatever they want to put up there, and bronies and chibis and whatever else is on there. And they found my work, and that's how I got a job with them. So as a freelancer, I'd be a part of every social media you can. That means Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, DeviantArt, Snapchat. What was it Whisper something? What was it Whisper? LinkedIn. LinkedIn's another good one. LinkedIn's a great one because that's how we cipher out who's fucking lying to us when they apply to our company. Because they'll say, oh, I work for this person, work for this person. We type in their LinkedIn account and then find out they're lying to us. And I told this last time, if you guys wanted to work for Sign and Happiness, we have this thing. It's where you send your application to us and we say, choose your favorite comic and your favorite short with links. We don't care if you have a favorite link or a favorite comic. We just want to see if you can follow directions, and that's what we're trying to figure out. And a lot of people don't do it.
Steven, you did it, right?
Yeah, I did that, and they asked for that link and that thing, and I put legitimate ones in there that I thought were great.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess from what you said last year, so many people just don't do it.
I think we can get anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 applications, and maybe about 100 or 200 will actually do it. So it's just people thinking, oh, it's just a joke. I'm like, well, no, we're trying to see if you follow directions because we are a company, we are a real business. We have meetings. We have a hierarchy of.
What determines if you're
right.
a business?
Well, yeah. Like
we have meetings.
We have meetings. We have meetings.
We sit at a
that
table,
makes it
damn
business. We have paychecks. Yeah, meetings. That means you're a business. We have meetings.
Right.
So anyone can be a business.
We're a business.
But we just talk about dicks, and we talk about like really vulgar stuff, and that's our meetings, and it's fun. But people think, oh, they just joke around. Yeah, we do, and we're drunk sometimes when we're doing this stuff, but we're still a company. We have meetings. We have meetings. So freelance, yeah, get your stuff out there anywhere you can. When I do artwork, when I do a piece like this piece here, as soon as I do it, I take a picture on my phone to get the best quality. And then I'll go on Instagram. I'll post it on Instagram. I'll try to use the best hashtags that I'm aware of. I still don't like to use too many hashtags. I think people get sick of that. Then I post it on Twitter. Then I post it on my personal Facebook because I've accepted, like, if you guys send me a friend request, I will accept your friend request. Unless you act all weird. And then I won't accept it.
You haven't accepted my
I haven't?
request.
Oh, resend it then. Well, I got a lot over the Inktober thing. I won't accept a lot of those ones because a lot of them were like trying to get into personal information from me, and that's getting a little odd for me. This is the first time I've actually had people try to find out where I live, which is very odd.
That's spooky.
Right, don't come to my house because I get crazy. I have kids and I go into parent mode and I will kill you. But I will throw tiny knives at you. But yeah, I told him last time, if you send friend requests, I will accept it because it allows me to connect to fellow artists. And I'm always available to ask, if you guys have a question or anything like that, I'm always happy to help. When I was growing up, and ever I'd ask for an artist's help or anything, they were too busy. Like Todd McFarlane's one of them. He's an asshole. He's an egotistical prick. But he's also, one of the, he kind of redefined the genre in terms of comic books. But you would reach out to him, and he just, I don't got time for this, or are you paying me to talk to you? And it kind of like just disheartened me. And then I met Chet Zar, who I've been a fan of since like the old early Tool days, and he sent me a friend request, which made me flip out. And then he just talks to you. I sent him a message, hey man, I got a question about this. He goes, oh yeah, here, call me. I'm like, what? I'm sorry, wait, I can call you? He goes, yeah. And I have a bunch of artists that I've looked up to for years. I have their phone numbers now. That's so weird to me. That I can be like, oh, let me call Alex up. What's up, dude? fuck. 10 years ago, I'd be like, I just want to touch you, man. But if he hears that, he's going to be like, oh, I need to delete his number. So yeah, I accept friend requests. I will post if we're like accepting jobs or anything like that. My clothing line, we're actually going to start looking into maybe doing internships, like a paid internship to kind of help us like shipping and stuff like that, and kind of like you won't have a job after that, but you'll get paid at least while you're doing it, just because we're a two-man company and we're not big enough to have employees, but we could always use help and we can write it off. So it goes back to writing it off. I think that got those questions. Yes.
Do you still like you were kind of just talking about this, but like you still geek out about stuff and people?
So much. So much. I was talking to, I don't know who I was talking to yesterday about, but I told him how I met Samuel L. Jackson in San Diego. We were actually on our way to Nobu, which Nobu is supposed to be the greatest sushi place on earth. It's not. It is subpar at best. Cilantro's better. But we went to eat there. I got to meet Joss Whedon, Aisha Tyler. I felt bad because I geeked on her. She was eating dinner with a friend. And I said, look, I'm going to be that guy. I just want a photo. Like, I'm so sorry. But Samuel L. Jackson I met, and I mean, I don't know if is he an A-list? Is he a B-list? What is he?
He's A-list.
Is he? Okay, 'cause I feel like he could go from, well, I feel like he was A-list for a while, and then he went to like Snakes on a Plane, and then he went back up, Right. So like, I feel like he like transcends A's and B's and C's. But I've always heard he was a great person towards fans. So we were walking to a party, and he was walking by. I'm like, oh, Samuel L. Jackson! And he goes, hey, I don't know your name. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? What? And he came back with his wife or girlfriend, whoever she was, and talked to me for 20 minutes. For 20 whole minutes, just talking. I told him this is my first time out in San Diego, and this is crazy. And he was just
Getting a call from an unknown number.
What if it's Samuel L. Jackson?
I bet it's him. Heard you talking about him.
hello. Oh, it's spam. Oh, resume.
An artist.
Oh, they deleted it. Oh, I went for how long did that go? I don't know how long that is. Okay, we're done live streaming, so we'll keep talking now. Fuck my fans.
That's on our stream.
You know what's funny is I have a story about my fans. I'll tell you here. But yeah, we talked about 20 minutes, and he was very cool. And I actually the one who ended the conversation. He was just chilling. He probably could have talked to me for another hour if he wanted to. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. But him, I met. Anyone familiar with Michael Husser at all? Anyone? Okay. I met him at San Diego, and I squealed. I was like I squealed, and that's very dumb. But I squealed, and he's just like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, I couldn't talk to him. So my wife like pushed me, and she goes, "Just say something." I'm like, "You're awesome." And he goes, "You're probably better than me." I'm like, "No, not at all." So yeah, I geek out still. It's 8 years. I've met a lot of celebrities, and it's still every time it's the same. I'm just like, nah. I try not to. I realize they shit too. They take a poop, Like, what helps me now is whoever it is. It can be Kate Beckinsale. It can be Brad Pitt. At some point in the day, they have to go poop. And they make the same face that you do, or worse. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing more special. Like, there's nothing else. They act. Okay, got it. So, you just imagine them pooping. Or imagine like having like just the worst diarrhea of their life. Red face and everything. And you're just like, okay, there's a normal person there. And that's helped me a lot. So if I meet someone, I'm like, hey, they're pooping. And maybe they're thinking the same thing about me. I don't know. That's weird. So the story I was going to tell you about, so yesterday I posted a revised version of my post-traumatic stress disorder. It was post-Trump addict stress disorder. I put a little red hat on it. If you guys can't tell, I do lean more Democratic. But I don't get into the whole, we're not going to talk about it here because there's enough of it out there. But I posted it, and a lot of people were like, awesome. And a couple were just like, that's fucked up, man. Fuck that. And like, why are you Democrats so whiny, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? They're right. my page isn't really a political page. I don't want it to be. I don't want to pursue politics or doing those political cartoons. So I took it off. And some guy messaged AMN's website and goes, "Hey, just so you guys know, Shawn posted something about PTSD, but relating it to Trump, and I find that very offensive. And that I'm unsubscribing to you. And I think you guys should drop him. Like, he's a terrible influence. And I'm gonna get on Facebook and tell everyone that not to buy from you." So 2 a.m, I'm in a prick mood. I go, "Look here, fucker. I'm the owner of the fucking clothing line, and I'm not going to fire myself. So, sorry to lose your business. Good fuck." You know? Send him on his way. And then he replied back, and then we actually had a conversation. I told him, "Dude, I'm not trying to offend you. You choose to be offended." Like, Rob made this comment once that there's no such thing as offensive, just offended. You choose to be offensive. Or something happens to you that you're offended by. And sometimes you don't know what that is. But what's offensive to you isn't offensive to someone else. I draw Jesus beating off on the devil. Someone's like, "That's okay." Someone else is grabbing their cross going, "Nope, too much, too much." It all depends on where your line is. So this guy, I crossed his line. He has PTSD. I was like, there's a lot of people who are experiencing PTSD-like symptoms over this. I have a lot of gay friends. I have a lot of transgender friends. I have a lot of friends of different religions who are scared shitless right now. Whether or not it's justified, I don't know. It's too soon to tell. All of my family in West Virginia are pro-Trump and pro-burning, crosses. So I know those are the people that I worry about, and I understand why they're in fear. But I have a lot of friends who are Republicans who are like, "You're overreacting." I was like, "I'm not overreacting." I was like, "The people who are drawing swastikas on the freaking stores overreacting. Like, that's crazy to me." So I feel like a lot of people are experiencing this PTSD. That's why I did this whole thing. I was trying to be a little lighthearted because everyone's real upset, real fearful right now, and real angry at each other. See, I am starting talking politics. God damn it!
We have to get the black censor bar out and cover it up and say, like, "Hang in there."
I'll put a dick in there or something.
Right.
I'll
We'll
draw
get
a
the
dick.
hanging
There's
cat
dicks
and-
coming, I promise.
Dicks are coming. Dicks are coming.
They're coming. Dicks are coming. And
Take
we
that
got
how
pun
you
in there,
will.
too. Actually, we'll just keep it at that. We won't even keep talking about the
Turn
politics.
off the stream.
We just went from politics.
Dicks are coming.
But I wanted to try and make it a little lighthearted. But I took it off. I'm actually getting to the point of the story. I took it off and I put a post saying, "I'm not gonna, put politically charged things. Sorry, guys." And a fan of mine goes, "You're a sellout." I'm like, "What?" I was like, I guess I'm a sellout. I'm gonna go cash my non-sellout checks then. And he told me that the reason why he likes me is because I'm edgy and I'm not afraid to offend people. I was like, there's a difference between being not afraid and being edgy and intentionally trying to offend someone. And I realized that what I posted could be very offensive very quickly, especially with it being so quick from the election, and people are so very energetic about it. And I didn't want to be a political person, so I chose myself to be like, "You know what, I'm going to take it off." No one forced me to do it, and he called me a sellout. And he said he lost respect for me and lost the awe and respect. And I was so close to telling him to go fuck himself, and I didn't. Because that's how I respond when people because I don't owe them anything. Just like you guys don't owe me anything, I don't owe you guys anything. When I create artwork, I don't create it for you, I create it for myself. And I create something I find entertaining to myself. So if people on there aren't happy, not my problem. But a lot of people are like, it's your responsibility to, what is going on over here? That put you guys in detention? What the fuck?
Don't worry about it.
You mentioned edginess, and I thought Sonic the Hedgehog.
So you drew Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I drew
Is it
Dick
Sonic the
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog?
We'll
it's
talk about it
pretty
later.
cool.
Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Don't worry
You'll
about
see
it.
our napkin doodles later.
Don't question.
I will. I'm someone.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, I don't try to be edgy. I don't try to be offensive. I just do artwork that I enjoy doing. And if it offends someone, fuck them. That's just how I feel. And at first I was trying to get everyone's approval, and I realized that's not what I am. I just do art for myself. And if you guys pursue that stuff, don't try to make everyone happy. That's not going to happen. All that for that one fucking story. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
What is like the weirdest, cringiest thing that happened to you or that you witnessed when you were at a con?
I have two.
Okay.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I have two.
It's gonna
Okay.
be good.
You right away, there's two.
I have one because I still have her card. So my first convention was C2E2, and I brought my Stillborn to Rock poster. It's a dead baby going like this. He's got headphones on, cute looking baby. And it's a Stillborn to Rock, kind of Born to Rock theme. And we were selling the posters, and this girl came up, and I was getting used to the whole crowd. You know, people were coming up screaming, all giddy at us, and this one girl came up crying and handed a note to my wife. She goes, "Whoever did this note's for them." She hands my wife the note. I'm like, "Oh, that was kind of cool. They gave us a note." And my wife just goes, "Not so fast, fucker. Here you go." And I read it, and she says something along the lines of, she's a librarian, and she will always defend our right to free speech, but this picture was highly offensive to her, and she wanted me to have her this card, which was a laminated picture of her dead baby, that she had a miscarriage, which is very weird to me that you just have a bunch of these laminated dead baby cards. And I wanted her to come back, so I was going to ask her for the rookie card, because I had it, obviously, you know, but I still have that card. I still have it. But I thought I was going to get fired. I was like, oh shit, my first con and I'm fired. And that's when Rob said there's no such thing as offensive, just offended. She was offended by that, but it's not offensive to me. And that's kind of like, I've lived by that ever since. So that's cringe moment one. More cringy for her. It was more, I was like, my butthole tightened because I thought I was going to get fired. The second one was in San Diego. This couple came up and they said, "I want you to make the most offensive thing possible." I'm like, no limit. They're like, "I want you to offend us." I'm like, okay. I like to see people's line, because what's offensive to me may not be offensive to you. So I like to see where their line is. So I drew, what was it? It was Jesus and Satan using their dicks as a spit on the guy's grandmother, while the fire pit was a bunch of Jewish babies, and Hitler like using a cross as kindling, like burning. So that was the image, and I was into it. Like I was just like, yeah, oh, this is awesome. And I look up, and they're gone. And like everyone's looking at me, like Chris and all of them are looking at me. The fans are looking at me, and where they were, there's just an open spot. I'm like, what the hell? Like, yeah, they left as soon as you drew grandma on the spit. And I was like, but they said they weren't offensive. They're like, yeah, like they look disgusting. I was like, oh. I was like, okay, well, free sketch. Anyone? And I gave it to someone else, and they loved it. And then they came back, and they're like, hey, like, I'm real sorry. You really offended us with that picture. We're like hardcore Catholics. I'm like, then why did you want something offensive? You told me to get offensive. Like, yeah, we didn't think it was gonna be that offensive. I was like, I don't know your line. Like, okay, so was it the Jew babies, or was it the spit dick, or was it just because it was grandma, or was it Jesus? Like, what was it? And they were just like, it was all of it. So I actually made a belt, a championship belt, to tell the other guys, like, I'm the champion of offensiveness. Like, you guys haven't beat me yet. It was cringy. And then one other one is kind of cute, not cringe. At Cleveland, this girl came up who's a big fan of my personal artwork and Sign and Happiness. And she said she wanted me to do an awkward, something about being awkward in a sketch. And she was telling me that when she gets nervous, her nose bleeds. So I'm thinking, I was like, something awkward. And I look up, and her nose is kind of trickling. I'm like, oh, like that? And she goes, oh my God, and runs off.
Oh, no.
And there's just a trail of blood with her. Apparently it just started pouring out. So when she finally came back, I gave her sketch, and it's me like this, and there's just blood everywhere. And she's trying to say thank you as her nose is just pouring blood out. It was kind of cute. She was super happy. As she was like...
Do you have a picture of any of these?
I stopped doing it as much. I used to get every one of them.
Right.
But like just in New York, I would probably do 1,000 sketches.
That's so many. Yeah.
And for a while, I was doing 18 conventions a year. So
Right.
I had too many, and my phone was getting overwhelmed. So I was like,
Right.
fuck this. So yeah, I have a lot on my Instagram account. So you can see them on. You'll know when I'm at convention because all my artwork is just
Just turning
sketches.
it up. Right.
It's like December 10th. Actually, I'll be at Oddmall in North Canton, which is a free convention in North Canton. If anyone wants to make the trip, but I'll be doing sketches there, and I'll be posting those. So
Right.
you'll see 'em.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Why do you go to all those conventions?
'Cause I fucking love it. I get to draw for 3 days straight and get to talk to people, and then realize why I hate talking to people after those 3 days. Because I get asked, where do you get your inspiration from? Probably 100 times. And it's the same question. I go, same way you come up with the idea to breathe. It just comes to me. Like, that's all I got for you. But I get to travel to Seattle, San Diego, Texas, New York, Calgary, Florida, Chicago, Utah. They have Salt Lake City Comic Con, and I just get to draw for 3 days straight, and then hang out with a bunch of my art friends. It's like amazing.
How do you choose which ones to go to?
So they're all Chris, Rob, and Dave, and I are really the only ones who go to conventions. The rest of the animation team stays. Like, it's a lot harder than people think to draw on the spot. Like, someone gives you an idea and you have to make something. And sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. You know, for the longest time, I wasn't able to hit anything funny. And then last year, I had LA for 1 week, and the week after, I went straight to Seattle, and everything I popped out was fucking gold. And I was just like, what the fuck? I've hit it. I've hit that fucking peak. And then I crashed back down. Because depending on how you're feeling, like if I have a cold or a flu, I notice my comedy is just not there because I'm just not feeling good. But you're still trying to put a show on. Like I'm still upbeat. I'm still talking, but you'll notice I'm like super pale, or I'll have a bucket by me. So as soon as I go, hey, thanks. So, but yeah, the ones I always go to, the Cleveland one, just because it's local. It's a 45-minute drive for me. Columbus, and then Seattle's the one I'm like, look, if I don't go to any con, that's the con I want, because I love Seattle. It's a free trip for me. The company pays for it, so I get to go out there and just, like this year I'm taking my whole family out there, so we're going to rent a house and just actually see the city more. If I could move there, I would, but it's my one friend who works for, which gaming company they work. Who does Forza?
Turn 10.
Okay, so he works for them, and they just bought a house. It's a 2-bedroom house on the kind of outskirts of Seattle, and it's a $500,000 house. That's insane.
Yeah, those houseboats there are like still like
Right.
crazy.
Fuck that. Yeah. So I prefer staying in Ohio, where I can get a nice house for about 150, or 50,000 if you want to live in a shanty. So. Yes, sir.
If you're ever not like in the mood, or like you're like one of those down points, what's your like fallback drawings?
I really don't have any. What I'll do is like, so we have this topic box. I'll pull an example out here. So we use this because sometimes people come up and they just have no idea what to draw. So it's topic box. And so we'll say, hey, go ahead and draw 2 out of there. So we have force feeding and obesity. So we'll come up, I'll come up with something with those. This kind of write itself. We also have Hitler, abortion, blood, boners everywhere. Hitler's kind of an easy one, just because, he's just a dumb-looking character. You can make him just do stupid shit, and people just go, "Oh, that's Hitler." Oh, yeah, look, he's getting railed. Awesome. South Park did that a lot, but I try to find what's funny to me and try to keep it that, and I try not to ever repeat a joke. I think there might be 1 or 2 that I've repeated maybe 2 or 3 times over like a 2-year period. And a lot of it is a fan wants the same idea. Like I did this one sketch that got people excited. I had to draw it 6 times in a row because everyone wanted the same fucking sketch. That sucks because it's easy money, I guess, but I'm drawing the same damn thing each time, and they don't want me to change it. They want it to be exact. So I just something switches. Like when I'm at these conventions, however I'm feeling, I'm like, okay, turn it off. It's just art and trying to make this moment as special for the fan as possible, because I'm still a fan first, and I try to always think about that when I do conventions, when I do these speaking things. Like sometimes we get super busy and they start rushing people through, as a fan, that's gonna suck. If all I want to do is come to this convention, I spent $100 some and whatever plane tickets just to meet this one person, and I go, hey, no, oh, sorry, I gotta go. That sucks. That's fucking terrible to a fan. So even if we're slammed and it's closing time, I will sit there 10 minutes each with each fan if I have to, and give them their sketch, whatever they want, and talk with them, because they waited that time. They deserve to have time for, we deserve to have time for them too. So I try to keep that in mind whenever we do these cons, regardless of how busy it is. Like, if every one of you want to sketch tonight, I ain't leaving until we all get sketches done. So that's just what I try to do. Because you're already sitting through me rambling this long, and so the least I can do is give you a sketch of a dick. Yes, sir.
When you live streamed your Inktovers, you just kind of dive right into it. How much thought did you put into it?
So with the Inktober stuff, I do have a lot of background just from nursing school, and when I was trying to focus into psych nursing, I started reading a lot on just psychology, behavioral studies, and stuff like that. So I haven't saw a lot of those books I'd look into, but obviously they get updated every couple of years, sometimes every year, depending on, So I don't know if Asperger's is still considered in the DSM. Do you know by chance? I thought that got taken out, which I don't necessarily agree with. If you can take that one out, but you'll keep autism in, I feel like it's still a disorder of some level, but they're on a different, it's not like a mental behavior. But I also have friends who still work in, they work at St. Thomas, which is down by me. That's also where AA started. So for any alcoholics, you can go out there. And then I have a friend out here in Solon who's an art therapist, and she helps me out with a lot of case studies. She kind of explained to me about conduct disorder and what that is, and kind of told me some of her creepy stories about. So it was actually a picture that he had up. It was this being over some cats with their heads decapitated. And conduct disorder can tend to lead into sociopaths because they don't have that connection or feeling. And she was like, you were actually pretty tame, because what this kid did was he put kittens in a plastic bag and then threw it up in a ceiling fan to kill them. And that's what he did. So, but he was at least considerate of his parents because he didn't want to get blood everywhere, so he kept them in the bags. So that's the kind of research I would have to do. So it gets kind of dark. But I don't just a lot of people are just accusing me of just, oh, he's just putting an image and just calling it this. It's like, no, I'm actually researching. I'm not just fucking dicking around and making light of people's illnesses that they're dealing with or disorders. So, yes.
Do you attend any conventions in the New England area?
In the where?
New England area.
Where's New England?
It's compromised with Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island.
I used to do Kineticon up there, but they kind of dicked us over a couple years ago, and they didn't pay us what they owed us. But we did it just this past year, and everything's been fixed. So I'll probably do that convention again sometime. I know there's Baltimore Comic-Con, but I haven't done that one yet. I'd like to go back up in that area. I lived in Maine for about 5 years. I love that state. I just don't know if they have. Do they have conventions in Maine? Do they?
I don't believe so. I don't live in Maine.
There's one in
New
Vermont.
Hampshire. I know that they do conventions in Manchester, up at the Radisson.
Oh, okay. And it's something I'll look into. It's just convincing the team to because we have to agree on a convention to go to.
Yeah.
Only reason why we do the Ohio ones is because I live here. If I didn't live here, we probably wouldn't do them because they don't make a lot of money. Because Wizard World is all about making you pay as much as they can for a celebrity photo, as opposed to actually meeting the artist. So it makes it a little harder.
What's one idea or joke that you really liked and you thought was really funny but you just couldn't get to work?
We had this one that was I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called. It was Call of Duty. It was kind of a Call of Duty, so I can't remember what the name was, but the idea was instead of killing each other, you had to make love to each other. But it was all guys, and Chris was like, I had something with he wanted to use a lot of derogatory words, can I just say them? Is it okay? Is that all right? Okay. So using words like faggot and stuff like that. I don't say that word anymore because it's very offensive to a lot of my friends, and my wife hates it, so I don't use it. That's our F word now. Fuck's okay. The other one's not. But the idea was to make that word okay in this sense. So everyone's making love, and you get these faggot points. But they're good things, you know. And it makes all these gamers who are saying faggot, it's like you're actually doing good, and they're getting pissed off because they're like, no, that's supposed to be a bad word, and we just couldn't get it to work properly because we were worried that people would see it as they're just being offensive with that word. Or like, no, we're trying to make fun of all those gamers who use it in such a derogatory word or sense. And then we had another one which was called retarded ghost, and because we used the word retard, and Rob works with a lot of he volunteers for a lot of kids with like Down syndrome, stuff like that. He was kind of bothered by it, but no one else told us like they were bothered by it. We were still going to do it, but he was really bothered by it for a little bit. So I think we actually had it all filmed and ready. It was animated and it was ready to go out, and then we're like, no. I think we still have the animatic on season 1. So if anyone backed the Kickstarter years ago, you can actually see like the bare bones version of it. But it's literally about a retarded ghost because they wanted a ghost to haunt them, but they wanted a discount ghost. So they had this retarded kid ghost. Yeah. So there you go. I've said retarded a lot. Someone's gonna hit me for it. Any other questions? No. Okay. Oh, this guy's got one. He's the last second. What's up?
You're talking about how Rob goes to different areas in the world.
Yeah.
Does he go for marketing or?
No, he goes for as the convention. Delhi had a convention, and Spain had one. He does MCM, which is in London, a lot. There's another when he went to Delhi, we were actually in Seattle, and he walked out of the airport looking for his driver and didn't see him, and then he couldn't get back in because they have security, and he couldn't get a hold of his driver. So he was in Delhi by himself with a phone that had half a battery, and he was calling us, like going through I don't know how many minutes of roaming to get a hold of us. So we had to call the director of whatever Delhi's Comic-Con to have someone emergently pick him up. So I guess it can be really risky out there. But he's usually the one who does all the traveling to those cons, but it's for Comic-Cons. He said like the Delhi ones is mostly meet and greets. He said they don't really buy too much. They just more just meeting him. Just because he said like their money, I guess is terrible. I think is what he told me. What's that?
The exchange rate is bad.
Okay, yeah, because I remember him telling me that like it's real bad. He's like, yeah, I'm rich over there apparently.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's the only one who travels. I'm not ready. Having 2 kids, if something would happen, like to them, I couldn't get back in time, you know. So I stay in the States for it, just mostly because of them. I rarely go to Canada anymore, just because of customs. Even that 3-4 hours of customs is too long. If in case my wife's like, hey, we can take our kid to the hospital. Okay, I need to get there quick then. Anyone else? You don't have to be shy. I see a lot of people who haven't talked.
Is it almost time for dick drawings?
Is it almost time for dick drawings? Oh, you got a question? It's about dicks? Okay.
Is there any benefit to having an LLC for writing off?
So with the LLC, I have it to where any funds I make can be taxed from my LLC. So it's not my personal stuff. So if for some reason that goes bankrupt or whatever, or they drain that account, it doesn't affect my credit personally. It affects my LLC. And it kind of keeps everything separate. I'm told that's how you should do it. That way you don't ever like dip into your own personal savings when you have like your own. So I have my LLC in my Shawn Coss art, which I just got this year for my Kickstarter, and then we have an LLC for the Any Means Necessary. You have something to add into that?
Yeah, LLC means limited liability company. So
there we go.
Art, it's not like an extreme situation, but say if you were a carpenter or built the house and the house collapses, that company, that person whose house you had, the owner can come after you personally and take your own belongings.
So you go to the LLC.
Makes that barrier to protect yourself.
See, there you go. I'm not a carpenter.
If you make a big sculpture and it falls on someone,
fuck them, right?
You don't personally lose your livelihood. It's an accident, and you have that legal barrier.
Okay, well, there you go. I use it for more. Yeah, right. Yeah, talk to this guy. Fuck him though. Okay, that's all I have. I mean, if you guys have any other questions, that's fine. I do actually have posters to give out for free, and I don't know how many bottle openers I have. but I'm gonna hand out as many bottle openers as I have. So, whether you drink or not, but they're like silent happy meals. So, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. I'll hang out a little bit here. If you guys want some sketches, you want me to sign anything, you just want to say hi, that's fine. You don't have to get anything done. Like, you don't have to